Good evening, America. I'm Brian Garland. Thank you again for tuning in to the 5-Minute News Hour. What none of you know, except for maybe Jesse, who's in the next room and heard the whole thing, is that what just happened here was a bold experiment in what internet news could possibly be. I established a fake debate, myself representing the North and myself representing the South, aiming to finally put to rest the anger, the differences that have plagued both North and South on the East, Central, and, well, no, California pretty much is the whole West Coast there. But I attempted to put to bed what has been dogging our nation from the first groupings of the Continental Congress all the way through the Declaration of Independence being signed and different ideas from different parts of the country needing to be worked into the wording, all the way through Bleeding Kansas, Bleeding Sumner, the Civil War, Reconstruction, the Civil Rights Movement of the mid-20th century, all the way through to the 2008 election, where Virginia voted Democrat and helped to elect the first African-American president for the first time in almost 40 years. Not the African-American president thing, voting Democrat. There was not another black president before Obama. In any event, that turned out badly. Really, really poorly. Just me yelling at myself in two different, really bad voices. You'll never see it. No one will. It was bad. But what you're going to see now are hastily constructed jokes replacing a really flawed premise. Good evening, America. Our top story tonight. Since the splitting of the Dixiecrats to the GOP in the middle of the 20th century, the southern states have been of great importance to Republican presidential candidates. As the Deep South title erodes away from the Mid-Atlantic region, both Virginia and North Carolina voting for a Democrat in 2008 for the first time since the mid-60s, the fight for the Bible Belt has become even more important to GOP frontrunners. With the Mississippi and Alabama, or Tweedledee and Tweedledumbest Republican primaries being held today, Romneybot 2012, Fancy Yankee Machine from the North, has tried to reassure Southern voters, telling crowds recently that he's growing more accustomed to saying things like y'all, and eating cheesy grits and fried catfish. Newt Gingrich, the Pennsylvania-born Georgian, who's trying to maintain his strong support in the South, was not to be outdone, telling a crowd that he likes grits so much sometimes he eats an entire row of corn and then swallows a big grinding stone and just rolls and rolls so he can have grits all day that he doesn't have to share. Many of Romney's Southern opponents, including Gingrich, have criticized the former Massachusetts governor for pandering to Southern crowds and lying about who he is in order to win over voters, to which Romney responded, "I have to do that everywhere, stupid. You met me?" Defense Secretary Leon Panetta announced today that the U.S. soldier accused of killing 16 Afghani civilians over the weekend could face the death penalty. "Oh no, they can't do that," said nobody. Virginia's State Fair may not be happening for the first time in 157 years this fall. The nonprofit organization that funds the project has no more money. And while the State Fair can still be saved if independent funding is found, State Governor Bob McDonnell offered this statement saying that he would think about helping to fund the project if a more invasive and thorough way to determine how tall someone is can be found. He suggests a vaginal probe. What time is it, you ask? Why, it's time for sports, stupid! Don't ask so many stupid questions! NFL free agency begins at 4 p.m. today, and some of the league's historically biggest spenders are finding a little less cap room to work with. After defying league suggestions and expectations by front-loading contracts in a year unaffected by the NFL's salary cap, the Washington Redskins and Dallas Cowboys were docked a total of $46 million in cap space. The proceedings and penalties and justifications for both are confusing to NFL fans and non-fans alike, so I'll take this moment to break it down for you. If you are an NFL fan of any other team than the Redskins or the Cowboys, you're now working with around $1.5 million extra dollars to give to free agents in this offseason. If you're a Redskin or Cowboys fan, suck it, nerds! And finally tonight in nature news, I do an impression of a monkey. Without my glasses on, I couldn't tell if I looked like a monkey or not. For all of me here at the 5-Minute News Hour, I'd like to thank you for your patience. Also send money. Have a good night and a great night. Send money.